Hello, brothers and sisters. I come to you greeting you in the name of Jesus, our God, Lord Savior. Um, I come on here because God gave me some things in the spiritual realm to write down to share with my brothers and sisters. Some of y'all on here may not like what I'm getting ready to say. Some of y'all may listen to it and maybe delete it afterwards. But as long as you hear it, if you have the willing heart to listen to what God is saying and what's going to take place, just listen to the whole video and you will understand what God is saying. That's if you have the desire to live right and live holy. I'm talking to my brothers and sisters that's holy now. We got too many Christian people and not living holy. They living the way they want to live. But I'm talking to my brothers and sisters that have been in their prayer closets. I'm not talking about in the sanctuaries, but in your prayer closet, asking God for a message or asking God for a word to give or to do on this day. And God gave me some things to encourage your heart, and I written it down this morning. I just want to thank God. Let me say this: I'm nothing but a young man that's willing to do the will of God and willing to just live holy. Some things I just refuse to do. Some things I refuse to. Some places I refuse to go. Some churches I'm just not going into them. I don't care how big the crowd is. I don't care. I praise God and have church in my house and turn on the radio, listen to a certain preacher. I'm not calling his name, but he believed in holiness. Um, but anyway, let me say this: as a musician growing up in the church, as a young boy, I have seen and experienced some things, and let me say experience. I'm not saying physical, but I'm saying experience some things that I have seen that took place in church. Me and my brother, he know who I'm talking about. As musicians, a lot of people asked us to play growing up, and playing in their conferences or maybe playing in their church, but we had to say no. Why? Because God told us to say no. There's a lot of places that we could have had notoriety and of our playing as musicians, but God told us no, and we said no. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the crowd. It wasn't about none of that. It's about living holy and knowing where God is. One particular service that we did say yes to, uh, me and my brother played, and it was a lady, a mother, that came down. A lot of y'all know this mother. Her name is Mother Boyd. But I hear a lot of preachers talking about Mother Boyd, but me and my brother had the pleasure of sitting down with her and her talking to us. Matter of fact, she sent for me and my brother as we played in that service where she was preaching at in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And afterwards, we was on our way out. I was going home to my family. But she stopped us and told us she wanted to talk to us. Mother Boyd told me and my brother some things that at that time we was thinking about. She was talking about music wise, but she was talking about spiritual wise also. And she told us, she said, do not let people put you in a box. She said, do not fall for the things that people is doing in the churches and stuff. She said, be attentive to what God is saying. Y'all have to excuse me because I'm not an English scholar and stuff, and my words may not be the words that y'all will understand, but y'all know where I'm getting at. But anyway, she said you have to pay attention to what God is saying when he's saying no and when he's saying yes. Even in ministry when you're going up, and we were still thinking about music ministry, not knowing that God wanted to use us in this ministry, not knowing that God wanted to use me as a tool of a messenger to tell y'all the message from the sender, which is him. So I said that to say this. A lot of people know Mother Boy. I know Mother Boy. A lot of y'all say, well, how he know Mother Boy? I knew Mother Boy because we played with Mother Boy. Matter of fact, at that time when I was playing in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I can just remember two of the young ladies that she had with her, Mother Dupree and Mother Stacks. And I remember the musician that was playing with us that came down from Ohio, which his name was Brother Ben. So to let y'all know, I'm not lying about Mother Boyd. I'm telling you the truth. I remember Mother Dupree, Mother Stacks, and Brother Ben. Brother Ben was one of the organ players that played behind Mother Boyd. But me and my brother also came in when he couldn't come to play a couple nights. Me and my brother came and was the musicians for those nights until he was able to come in. I'm explaining. So at that time, Mother Boyd, as we was playing in this service, Mother Boyd was staring at me and my brother, and she had that look. Sometimes you can see people that know that they look at you, they can see through you, or they seeing something that God has given you. And she kept saying, yes, Lord. And this is what she gave me and my brother. And she told us, she said, y'all stay in the mindset that you are in of holiness. Stay holy, stay humble to God, and stay in the presence of God and listen to what God has said. So I wanted to say this to you guys. A lot of things that are taking place in the church, we know about it. I know some of the artists that's on stage. I know of them. I don't know them, but I know of them. I know their names. Okay, let me say that. But to get to what God has shown me, God showed me this morning. He took me out of myself. When I say out of myself, He took me into a spiritual realm that has been taking place and that's taking place now. And as he took me into this hotel, a well-known hotel. I will not reveal the hotel. I'm not dropping names. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to tell y'all what God has showed me. The name of the hotel I do know about, even the preachers and stuff that participated at this hotel, I have seen them and I do know their names. And a lot of y'all know their names. And a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. You're going to agree to what I'm saying, what God has said, because you know some of them and maybe you have participated in it. I don't know, but I'm just telling you what the Lord have said, have given me. So he showed me the hotel, in this nice hotel. This hotel, it wasn't an ordinary hotel. It was a big hotel that like billionaires and millionaires and people that with money stay at these hotels. So this particular preacher, I know them, have a lot of money. Go a lot of places, be in a lot of conferences, and have a lot of conferences. They rented out a two of the floors in this hotel. And in this hotel, where these two floors were, the people that he was inviting to these rooms on these two floors, you had to know the certain name that when you go to the desk, you had to say a certain name, and then your name had to be under the name that you tell them to get a key to the rooms, okay? So God was showing me that. And then God showed me where all these preachers that came to this certain hotel, they was in these rooms on these floors, and a lot of activities of sin took place. God showed me where drugs was set out, alcohol was set out. They was doing things that people in the streets that sinners would do. I seen men messing with men in these hotels, women messing with women. I seen preachers, other preachers and other preachers' wives sleeping with one another. And the thing that they had to agree to was if you don't sleep with another preacher's wife, you had to wear protection. And they start sleeping with one another. And the Lord showed me, I seen some young girls that was coming with these other preachers and stuff. That was with the preachers. I didn't understand at first the young girls. I was thinking that, it was their daughters or something. But it wasn't. It was girls that other parents allowed to follow these preachers, women and men, to these hotels. I don't know if they were thinking that they was going to church, taking them to church with them or conferences. God didn't give me that. He just gave me the focus on the hotel. And at these hotels, these preachers, men and women, was having sex with these young girls and boys. It was some boys. Men messing with these boys, girls messing with these boys and girls. Men messing with these young boys, women was messing with these young girls, these men was messing with the young girls, vice versa, okay? So I'm trying to give y'all a picture of what's taking place. And the Lord said to me, he showed me a sword that he getting ready to cut. I'm talking about he finna slay them. And on this sword, she even showed me the name on the sword. It was the sword of judgment. That was on the sword of judgment. And you know, the Bible talk about the two-edged sword. That's what he had, and it was cutting to and fro, just cutting these people. And the Lord said to me, he said, tell the people, even the first women, the first ladies, even some of the preachers that don't believe in what these other preachers doing, he said, y'all better speak up and expose this spirit, expose these things. He said, a lot of y'all not saying anything. He said, judgment is going to be on you because a lot of these first ladies that know what your husband doing, some of y'all are not participating in it. But let me say this. Also, it was some evangelists that was at these hotels sleeping with one another and sleeping with these other first ladies' husbands too. Let me say that too. And some of the first ladies didn't even know nothing about it. Some of them was still at the house. They were still somewhere else. Didn't know nothing about it. Let me clear that up too, because all first ladies is not doing these things. All preachers is not doing these. It was just some of these preachers that was doing it. I know them by what I see them in their conference and what I see on TV or their flyers or something. I know them. But I'm not dropping no names. But I know them. But some of the first ladies know that what was taking place and not saying that because you liked your nice house. You liked the money flow that was flowing through your pocketbooks and in your bank account. You liked to go into the store and buy your favorite clothes and your shoes and driving the cars that you drive and stuff. But God said when judgment coming to them is going to come on you too. Because you allow this stuff to take place and allow them to go into the pulpit and you're not exposing them because these people is being tricked and they being misled by these preachers and these evangelists that's not doing the will of God. God told me to tell you these things, that you in trouble also because he's coming and judgment is coming on them soon and very soon. God told me that and he showed me, he written down that I seen a young girl, a young lady. She was maybe at this time, she was maybe 13 or 14 years old. And a preacher, a well-known preacher, I'm not dropping no names, but a well-known preacher got this girl pregnant. And the child's mother went to the preacher and told him that the child was pregnant. He told her to take the child to the abortion center. Why y'all think that a lot of these government officials and stuff do not want these abortion clinics to close down? They behind this. They the mastermind behind these preachers. Who you think these preachers getting all this money and stuff from? Who you think they getting from these governments and the preachers and these millionaires and billionaires to control the people? I'm telling you, all this, look at the paper trail. That's all I'm going to say. It starts from the top and it triggers down to the bottom. I'm telling you. But anyway, let me get back to the task of what God is telling me. The woman took the young lady to the abortion center, and the girl she had an abortion. They killed the baby for the pastor. The pastor gave, the Lord even showed me the money. The pastor gave the lady $30,000 as hush-hush money. $30,000. After the girl recovered, the preacher kept messing with this young girl. This girl, mom was getting $5,000 here, $10,000 there, bills being paid, all this kind of stuff, making sure she was cool for hush-hush money. I don't know where the dad was. The Lord didn't show me where the dad, but I seen the mother. This girl grew up. God showed me how this girl grew up to become a teenager. She became a teenager. She was about 18, 19. What I'm seeing now, God was giving me bits and pieces of this young lady. Showed me the history of her life. This girl she said to her mother, she said, I know that this preacher was giving you money to have sex with me and to get rid of his baby. She said, but I'm not going to allow you to benefit off my body anymore. She said, if he going to sleep with me and get money, he going to give it to me. This girl started sleeping with not only him, but many other preachers, women and men. And that's what some of these boys and girls doing now to get paid, to have money, to be able to get the things that they want in this world. And God said, judgment is coming on y'all. God took me that was just one part. Then he took me to buildings. I don't know, these were big buildings. I mean, beautiful. They were sanctuaries, churches. He didn't give me the names of the churches. He didn't. He just showed me different churches. And in one particular church, he showed me a big sanctuary. He took me, it's like, God zoomed me down into the parking lot on the side of the church, and I seen a big U-Haul truck. And I seen this U-Haul truck, and they was unloading stuff at first into this church, boxes into these churches, bags into this church. And the Lord told me, he said, and I remember, I asked the Lord, I said, what happened to the tent revivals? When I was growing up, we had in our inner cities and in the hood and stuff, they used to set up tents and stuff and preach to the people in the inner cities, in the hood, and in the poverty places that, where the people was trying to be reached. Good services. You have tremendous musicians that's on the streets, singers that you haven't heard of, just beautiful voices coming to these tents and being saved and delivered and praising God and getting delivered. But anyway, back to the U-Haul. They was bringing stuff in and out of this church. Like me, like probably normal people didn't think nothing of it. Probably they remodeled or maybe bring stuff. That's how I was putting it. But the Lord told me, he said, no. He said, tell you know what they doing? He said, the biggest drug dealers is the pastors in the church. They allowing drugs to be drug smugglers to put drugs into the church, into rooms and stuff that they couldn't get caught, and they making deals with these big drug dealers and these drug dealers and giving them money to be able to put their drugs in the churches. And I said, Lord, what is they giving them? He said, a lot of them getting money. I'm seeing money exchange $200 to up to $300,000 to $400,000 and thousands of dollars. He said, but people won't question it. He said, because it's a big ministry and they have a lot of people in the church. So when they take this kind of money to the bank and stuff, they knowing that this is just normal because the people that's giving in the churches. But they was using that money to put in their bank accounts to do whatever they want to do and make an agreement with these drug dealers. And these drug dealers, are not even that, just make promises that they will have hitmen and people on the streets to make sure that the pastors and stuff is covered. Make sure that, if they need anything or need something taken care of, take care of some people, that come against them, they would do that for them. It was like an exchange, even in that. So the Lord said they can't go in the inner city because they are the main masterminds behind the products that go into the inner cities. Coming even from out of the churches. This is blowing my mind. Y'all don't want to believe me, but I promise you the Lord is saying this. And the Lord said that they the biggest drug, right? That's why you say you hear people on the streets say the biggest drug dealers and the biggest pimps is the preachers and the people in the church. They know what they talking about. They trying to tell y'all in many words. That's what's taking place. So the Lord told me that, he said, tell the people, if you knowing this stuff is going on and you not saying nothing, judgment is coming. Judgment is coming to your door. I'm telling you, God getting ready to expose these people, expose these things that's taking place. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Y'all, let me encourage some of y'all brothers and sisters that these big time ministries that dogged you out, that said things and did stuff that try to tear down, and then tore down your ministry and took some of the people out of your church to join them. God said, keep praying in your prayer closet because he hear the cries of you. And he's coming to deliver you from these people because judgment is coming to them. He said, but even in that, he said, don't be scared to expose these people or what they wrongdoing. We better tell people what's really going on. God said that blood is going to be on our hands because we know what's right and we know what's wrong. And we better tell the truth on what's going on. The wrath of God. The wrath of God. He told me that. I'm reading my notes because I'm trying to give it to you. You know what? Some of y'all people that's going to these preachers' houses and eating stuff, y'all better stop eating at their house and drinking stuff. Because these people that allow your children to come to eat dinner and stuff with them, they drugging them, putting drugs in their food, putting drugs in their drinks, where they out of, where they can rape them and have sex and do all this other stuff with them. And the kids don't even know what's going on. Even people, even women and men of God don't know what's going on. Y'all better stop going to these women's and men's houses. I'm telling you. I know this stuff is happening even with musicians and stuff, sleeping with first ladies and stuff. I know this. Why, how I know this? I'm not saying this that people told me. I know this because I went to and I told you, I don't go to too many conferences, but I went to one conference that me and my brother played at, and I think that was the last one we went to, other than Mother Boy. As a matter of fact, this was one of the conferences with Mother Boy that she asked us to come to. Had a beautiful time. God moved in that place. But when God tell you no, that means no. But a particular lady, we know she was a pastor wife, asked us to go, told us, she said, hey, I need to talk to y'all. Will y'all come up to my room? Absolutely. Now, I'm not going to nobody's room because that's out of order. You don't go to no first lady's room and their husband ain't there. If you want to go with your husband, y'all, we all sit down. But other than that, I wasn't going. So we didn't go. So that's why I tell you, a lot of musicians are going there and sleep with the pastor and the first lady and everybody else. That wasn't me. I'm against all of this. Same-sex marriage, all this stuff, abomination, I'm against it because I'm standing up for holiness. This is why I'm telling y'all, we better get into the book of the word and knowing what God mean about holy. Y'all talk about y'all have the Holy Spirit. You ain't nothing about you is holy. You have a spirit, but it's not the Holy Spirit. You have a spirit. That spirit of divination, that spirit of Jezebel, you has all kinds of spirits that's in you, but it's not a Holy Spirit. Let me get back to the task because y'all looking at me. Y'all ain't gonna want to receive this. God told me, he showed me and told me, he said he even had, now listen to this, there was angels and still angels that came down with messages that dressed up as people to intercede and to intercede and come in contact with the people that wasn't doing the will of God. And some of them looked at homeless. These angels was homeless. Some of them didn't even look like the people that y'all would talk to. But they was trying to get your attention, and the devil had some of y'all in y'all fancy car to drive by him, or y'all was walking and y'all and told you to walk right by him, didn't want to have nothing to do with him. And they had a word for you, for your deliverance. And you walked by the angels of God and didn't want to listen to what God was saying to try to tell you to turn from your wicked ways because judgment is coming. I'm telling you what God has shown me. There is smuggling going on in these churches. There is sin going on in these churches. Drug distribution coming out of the churches. People having babies by preachers. Some elders, some evangelists having babies by preachers and having abortions and covering all this stuff. I'm telling you what God have given me this morning. He said, but judgment of that sword that says the sword of judgment is getting ready to cut you. If you don't believe me, read the book of Ezekiel, the 5th chapter. Read the whole chapter where it says how God judgment come of the abomination of the churches and stuff. These people in these churches is the ones that God gonna come and kill, and the people that's on these streets that seeing God taking y'all out, God gonna save them and put them in the place that you supposed to be in. Don't you know that the places of these people that's preaching to y'all is living a lie because they ain't supposed to be in these places, they ain't supposed to be in the seat. The Bible says a lie should not tarry in this sight. You don't have to tell a lie. You can be sitting in a place that you know you ain't supposed to be sitting in, and you're living and sitting in a place that you're sitting in a lie. Talk about you a preacher knowing you ain't called to be a preacher. You're lying. Your lifestyle is a lie in front of God. That's why God can't flow in the church. Because he can't tarry in a lie. He can't tarry in sin. Talking about some God called me to be a preacher, to have a big organization, to have a big sanctuary, and you're not living nothing that's holy. Because you're living a lie. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. What God has given me today. He told me the God, he said, the wrath of God is coming. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I got this. I've written this down because it's coming. He told me, he said, some of y'all have jealousy. Some of y'all jealous of even one another. Y'all trying to get one another killed to get into the positions that you want to be, that you want as pastors, elders and stuff on these TV shows and TVs and all this other stuff, the notoriety. You killing folks. Spiritually and naturally. Just like these other people. Y'all will kill your mama just to get a TV show. Y'all will let them do whatever they want to do to your children and stuff just to be known. Because this is what happened. God told me to warn y'all today. The judgment of God is coming. The judgment of God is coming. The judgment of God is coming. God told me, he said, y'all better speak against this, y'all. Everybody that knows that I'm telling the truth, y'all better come out and start speaking this stuff. Come from among them and speak against this stuff. You're not trying to be messy. You're trying to save souls. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to save souls from this mess abomination. We're trying to save souls from these evil people. God showed me where these demonic demons is sitting in these people and telling them what to do. Telling them what they need to do. And these preachers and everybody else is doing it. And y'all seeing these demonic demons, their faces and stuff. When you look at these preachers, you can see the demons in them. You can see the demons. They even talking to you. You see the demons that talking to you. And you're going to sit there and allow it to happen. And you know the truth. Excuse me. Woe unto you. Woe unto you today. So much is going on. So much is going on. Controlled by the people. Controlled by, and it starts from, I'm telling y'all. I've been saying this and saying this and saying this. I've been saying it, I've been saying it, I've been saying it for years. I've been saying this. My brother, he can tell you. I've been saying this. Y'all living a lie. Y'all living in a position that you're not called to be in. And it's messing up the people that's trying to, and it's really, is God is mad because he can't get to the people that he want to get to because y'all in the way, but he's getting ready to move y'all in the way. This is what he's saying. That's where the judgment is coming. He's getting ready to move y'all out the way. I can drop names, but I'm not dropping no names because God told me not to. I know who you are. I know who the preachers are. I know who the evangelist is. I know who these people that sit on the pews is. I know these musicians that's doing all this too. But God said, leave it alone. He said, let me have that. But I'm here to warn you, to woe unto you. Woe unto you. God said, he said that y'all stealing from the government, some of y'all, opening up daycares and stuff and not even attend to the kids. The kids is not properly being taken care of. Even in the, y'all think, okay. Talking about y'all having daycares and stuff in your homes and stuff, and these kids and stuff, and the devil mastermind you then to put witchcraft on them. Y'all praying witchcraft, praying all this stuff on them. Witchcraft is, the biggest witchcraft and warlocks and stuff is in the church. Let me say this again, the biggest warlocks, witches, all this stuff. Is the biggest warlocks and witches is in the church. Y'all don't want to believe me, but you know what? I have to tell you what God have told me. The God of wrath is coming. Y'all haven't seen nothing yet. Y'all haven't seen nothing yet. Some of this stuff I want to tell you, but the Lord just speaking to me. He said, give him that right there. Give him that right there. Y'all indulging in all this sin. And God said, give them this. The spirit of the sword of judgment is coming. And y'all don't even see it. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for this message. Let this message fall on the ears of your people that won't change. They won't willing to have change in their life, God. They willing for their kids to come back to you. And they come back to you and serve you with all their hearts, mind, soul, and body. Come from among them and be separated. Because, Lord, we have to be holy because you are holy. Living in this holy word, living in holiness, living in what you have told us in your word, because everything else is going to fade away, but your word is going to stand. Let us have the true disciples. Let us have the true messengers in this day and time is willing to tell the truth and expose the devil in these people. Because we try to win souls, God, back to you, Lord. We try to tell the souls of the people to turn back to you. And Lord, I ask you to do it and let your will be done. And we thank you, Lord, this day. Thank you, Father. Amen, amen. Y'all be blessed. God bless you. Y'all just listen to what I said. We better expose it. We better tell the people. We better tell the truth. Y'all be blessed.